Business Next, and I welcome back my guest, Paul Artale, who is a motivational speaker and trainer. He gave us some great advice in the previous segment about how to kind of set up your employees for success. So, Paul, let's talk now about another idea that you wrote about in your blog, which is considering something you call a compressed work week. I think that we all kind of fall into the rut of asking our employees to work a regular 9 to 5, a 40-hour week, but there's some advantages to kind of messing around with that time scale. Tell us more about that.
Sure. The compressed work week essentially is saying I'm going to work more hours 4 days of the week so they can get a fifth off or any offshoot of that. There's different arrangements. That's the basic of it. There's a lot of advantages to it. It's really born out of, in recent literature, out of people having different family commitments, different life commitments. That traditional 9 to 5 framework is working less and less in today's society. And sometimes we need that one day to take care of a parent, to do something with our children, or just the commute is long and we want to save some gas money. Sometimes the reason's as simple as that. But really, you're just exchanging time. You say, I'm going to work extra hard this week, put in my hours, and I'm going to have one day off or whatever. So it's definitely can be a win-win for any organization.
I guess there's lots of different ways that you can implement this. Mm-hmm. You can make it just an occasional thing, for example.
Absolutely. There's a few different ways to go about it. It can be an occasional thing. I think that's the most common version. I think a lot of us do it at work without even knowing we're doing a compressed work week. We want to take that 3-day vacation to the lake, go to our boss, say, hey, what if I put in some extra hours this week? Or I worked really hard last week. Can I just comp those hours, really what it comes out of? There's that way of doing it. Sometimes it's a seasonal thing. Some businesses have a high season and a low season. I know I used to work in residence life in the university housing system. August, September, I was pulling 60-hour work weeks. When I was coaching football and doing the residence life system, 80-hour work weeks. I was working a lot, but come November, December, things have calmed down a little bit, especially around November. I could take a lot more time off. I built up those hours. So it's about playing with the time. I think most of us want to be busy at work. We want to feel useful. And so if there's a downtime where we can get some vacation or take some me time and not harm the company's productivity and their objectives, I think it's a great time to take it.
And it seems like for many small employers, this would be a good way to provide an extra benefit or a perk to your employees without actually shelling out more money.
That's correct. And I think generally employers are happier when they feel their employer they feel happy when they feel employers care about them and are sensitive to their needs or looking out for their best interests, and it's not always about the bottom line. This plays into it perfectly.
We talked a bit in the previous segment about how important it is to take care of the employees that you have, because it's expensive to lose an employee, even in this time of high unemployment, when you would think that there's plenty of workers on the market. Well, that's true. There's just not plenty of good workers on the market. We hear from small business employers all the time about how difficult it is for them to find that really key person who's going to come in and help grow the business and really be a productive part of the business operation right from the very beginning, where they can really hit the ground running. So anything you can do to make your current employees happy, so when the economy picks up even more strongly than it is now, that they're not going to look at jumping ship. They're going to stick with you. You want to try to keep them happy. Another twist on having this 3-day compressed work week, you can do it in midweek. It doesn't necessarily have to be connected directly to the weekend, does it?
It can be any day of the week for whatever reason. The tagline on my blog was, make every week every weekend a 3-day weekend. But it could be Wednesday. It could be Tuesday. Some companies don't have down seasons. They might have one day that's a little bit less cumbersome, and it's just a matter of working it out. I think a key in arranging compressed work weeks is, number one, talking to your manager. Managers are the key to a lot of these arrangements. And so when you can talk one-on-one and basically negotiate and see if it's feasible on a short or a long-term basis, that goes a long way. And the other part that goes with that is seeing if your company already has a policy. Because quite often we have HR policies that lend themselves to these types of arrangements, but they're not taken advantage of, often because no one knows about them or they're not really advocated for. And once they're advocated for, they become company culture, and that creates a more inclusive and happy work environment.
We all like that. So, Paula, let's put you in the shoes of the employee. What kind of messages would you use to talk to your boss and try to convince him or her to consider a compressed work week?
Great question. I would pitch it to my boss like this. I would say, do you want to increase employee satisfaction? Do you want to increase employee retention and productivity? then I would consider this compressed work week because I am able to get the work done in the amount of time. The overall objective is still going to be met, and because I have that extra time off to deal for me time or to deal with family commitments, I'm going to be more refreshed. I'm not going to feel as much stress. There's going to be less what we call work to family conflict, and that's going to make me a happier employee, which means I'm going to stay longer and be more productive in the long term. That's how I would pitch it.
So, well, hey, you got me sold. If I were your boss, I'd let you do the compressed work week. Well, we've gotten some more great advice on how to work with your employees and keep them happy and productive from Paul Artale, who is a motivational speaker and trainer based here in mid-Michigan. We're going to come back and talk with Paul some more about some of his great ideas to assist your workplace and your employee success. But we need to take a quick break, so we will return right after this. You are listening to Business Next, a part of the Michigan Business Network.